Okay, folks, we're back after a nice 2-month break, but the way things were going last time, we needed it. We needed it so bad. Hey, Dan, how you doing? Hey, Dan, just a quick heads up. Is my microphone feed coming through a little bit louder than usual? Because I've actually tweaked the settings to where, my audio is a little bit more coherent. Just waiting for him to respond.
Yeah, you know how it is with streams. There's usually a bit of delay.
Yeah. That, and I actually got a VPN during the time off because, hey, I want my privacy. Whilst we're waiting for him to catch up. There is no Madam President this evening. The only thing I'm able to say is that her and Oni are dealing with some
IRL.
Yeah, dealing with some IRL stuff. And when I say IRL, I don't mean anything like uber serious. It's just regular IRL stuff that just happens to be important. So, leave it at that. Dan is apparently taking a while to get back to me with that. And that's weird because, I have my mic synced up to my gaming headset, because the only reason I choose to do it like that is because he says I sound fine. Is because, again, problems with the neighbors, and because the microphone is much closer to my mouth, it's easier this way. So, again,
Granted.
We have a slew of topics, and unfortunately, I am going to be having to cutting the music a minute because SKL is going to open up with something very, very troubling.
Yes.
Get the band-aid off that quick.
Yeah, I'm just going to... Oh, good lord, in one of those images, he really does look evil. I know they say don't judge a book, by its cover, but still, it's like I say.
Hold on, I got a palate cleanser for this. After this,
I mean, this one image I'm looking at here is like here. I don't know what it is, man, but he just looks evil.
Yuck.
Yeah, no.
But then again, I think it's news that we have to mention.
Right. Playing every single news anchor.
Right. I have a lengthy piece, so I'm going to try and get through this as tactfully and civilly composed as I possibly can. The article is just simply Vince McMahon. Knowing the controversially disturbing details surrounding the details of the lawsuit from Ms. Janelle Grant against wanton Vincent Kennedy McMahon and John Laurinaitis, I will endeavor to keep my comments of my thoughts and observation as tactfully civil as I can, as I just mentioned. When you look back at some of the exploits of the Mr. McMahon character that would be front and center on Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, and various pay-per-views over the years, it's now clear to see that this was not a character he was playing. This was him hiding in plain sight. Now, knowing most of the allegation that he's been confronted with, it's easy to see the depraved, juvenile, vindictive person he is. From the Vince McMahon Kiss My Ass Club, Steve's raising an eyebrow, figured, what? In which a grown man at the time in his 50s, in November 2001 onwards, would force people to actually kiss his backside on live TV, to the Trish Stratus on all fours, barking like a dog segment in the ring. No joke, that actually happened. And then forcing her to strip down to her underwear. The Vince's Devil's Stable, which is obviously a mocking pun on Charlie's Angels, making out with Trish in front of Linda in storyline, writing the very infamous Katie Vick storyline, suggesting that either he or his son Shane would be the father of Stephanie's child in story, and Steph instantly blocking it. The Piggy James story, and to the very disturbing details of what happened to the late Ashley Massaro during a Tribute to the Troops tour in 2006 that practically destroyed her life from then on. Actually, no, it might have been 2007. Yeah, it might have been 2007, excuse me. It's that disturbing that I don't think Twitch would allow me to comment on it. You can go and look it up, but I will say as a disclaimer, the details are very disturbing, so read and or listen at your own discretion. It seems CM Punk's interviews on Art of Wrestling is even more relevant when you consider McMahon has as much empathy for his female talent as well as the male superstars. When you consider Punk wrestled while having a full-blown staph infection, which he could have died from. And as he said on Art of Wrestling, look up staph infections, people, they're nothing to mess with. They say money can corrupt people. Or was Vincent corrupt before becoming a millionaire and then becoming a billionaire? I think on that one, arrive at your own conclusions. For Samuel L. Jackson said something like this: "For money on its own is not evil. Money can help charities. Investments can help people start their own business and get their foot in the door on their journey to success." Or another example, "A gun on its own will not shoot people. It's the person that holds it. That is the weapon." It speaks volumes when Stephanie resigned her role, when old Vinny returned after a brief retirement courtesy of the initial allegations of hush money payments, and the fact that Shane resigned the first time in 2010 as he had reached his boiling point after being yelled at by his father for months on end. He did, to be fair. Also, backstage, everyone from agents to other performers speak very highly of Shane. He knows how to communicate in a way that's professional and create a friendly working environment. With Vince, however, no one wanted him back. This is someone who has to have everything micromanaged down to the microscopic level. Now, as someone who's somewhat of a starving perfectionist as well, I get that you want your product to be the best it can be. I get that. But there's an imbalance when you can't let your talent find their voice for the characters they can be. For example, if McMahon had micromanaged Austin's 96 King of the Ring winning speech, would we have had the same outcome? Hard to say. Austin's speech, along with coining the iconic "Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass," which is legendary to this day, that was all ad-libbed, not in the script. And the fans can tell when it's scripted. It's lifeless with no passion behind it. When you have scripted promos, there's no authenticity. When they have it non-scripted but have bullet points to remember and allow the talent to find their voice, then that's authentic. Now, under Triple H's guidance as head of creative, okay, it's not perfect, but it's a step in the right direction. Less scripted promos and a move away from the cringe segments that McMahon was known for. I'm not going to go into all of the said cringe segments, but people know what I mean. And it's said from various reports that some of the then WWE divas would be in tears when exiting Vince's office, and Tori Wilson recently said that she was holding back tears on many occasions for some of the segments, whether it involved bra and panty matches. Not joking, Steve, that actually happened.
I think I remember something like that in one of the old wrestling games, yeah.
Bikini contest, and one from Judgment Day 2003, which would not happen today, in which her bikini at the end was essentially metallic strings. Raiden knows what I'm talking about.
Sadly.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Teenage or early 20s version of me looking at Tori back there be like, hello. Whereas slightly older and a little bit more mature still sees Tori as a beautiful woman, but you wouldn't have her doing that today. I mean, it's one thing in a magazine because you can close a magazine, but out there on pay-per-view, she's front and center for everyone to see. You know. Now, this may get a bit of controversy. Some are arguing this is more disturbing than the Chris Benoit incident from 2007. I think from a certain perspective, I will agree. Here's my reasoning. Chris Benoit was a man with CTE, a condition in which a patient with multiple concussions to the brain in which the subject will have the health of a brain similar to that of a 91-year-old Alzheimer's patient. Benoit had received so many concussions throughout his career that when questioned how many he had, he replied, "I lost count." The point that I'm getting at, Benoit would have had no clue what he was doing due to how messed up he was mentally. McMahon knew what he was doing. Even if he were to be proven innocent, no one, not even the TKO board of directors, wants him back, and the fact that one of McMahon's golden boys from the Attitude Era in The Rock erased him from his Instagram speaks volumes. And the fact that even Brock Lesnar is being implied to be implicated with this does not bode well for either of them, as the WWE will more than likely erase them from history in what is being dubbed as, by some, as being Benoit. But Benoit, at the very least, has not been erased from the WWE library. His legacy is just downplayed to where, when DVDs were released after his death, whenever commentators would have previously commented on him, it's either dubbed over with crowd noise or just less mentions of him. So, in a likely scenario going forward, both Lesnar and McMahon are likely to be edited out, or at the very least have segments cut out that more highly controversial segments. And it's been suggested by some they could be serving 16 years in jail. And I'm going to end with this. It paints that Attitude Era TV campaign commercial from the late 90s in a whole new disturbing light, with an actor portraying Nostradamus, and I quote, "And in the new millennium, the third and most evil Antichrist shall appear, and his name will be McMahon." That... Raiden, you say it better than I could ever do. Damn.
What's the thing?
Like say, Raiden, you could say it better than I ever could. You just go, damn.
Damn.
Because honestly, there were a whole bunch of like Attitude Era commercials, like, you know, we're the World Wrestling Federation, care about family entertainment, all that jazz, and there'd be like these other ones where it'd be like advertising, more of the product, and there was one of Nostradamus, I think in the 14th or 15th century, because he had this ability to predict the future, and it would actually like paint McMahon as like a religious evil figure, and I'm just like looking at today, it's like, wow, that's a little wow. And the fact that even Double Toasted were even commenting on this. Corey's face is just like where it's that interview with McMahon and Jim Ross leading up to the 2002 Royal Rumble pay-per-view with Ric Flair, and McMahon goes, "I enjoy destroying icons. It turns me on." And Corey goes, "Oh man, that has not aged well." But here's my 2 cents. If McMahon if he gets proven innocent, which at this point it's a 50-50 because there's so many stories coming out now, he's never going to be let back on. TKO want nothing to do with him. He's 78, 79 this August. You've made your billions. Just stay away. Just stay away. I mean, when your kids want nothing to do with you, that says something. And, I was watching some of Bischoff's 83 Weeks podcast saying, in a sense, McMahon's kids, grandkids, other family members are victims as well, because they're going to have to be associated with this. I mean, Shane's boys, Triple H and Stephanie's girls, they're having to go to school, and people know about what their grandfather's like. They're having to endure this. Now, I'm not trying to take anything away from the women that, the women that are making the allegations, not taking away anything, what they've been through. No. Because what they're accusing Vince of, no one should have to go through. It's there's not really much more I can say to that because it's that old expression, the devil's in the details. And again, not laughing at their situation, is about what's come up. And Bret Hart had something to say about it. I'm like, oh, this'll be good. He said something to the effect of, even, after, making peace with McMahon after the Montreal screw job, I always respected him, but now I have zero respect for him. He's just like, what a weirdo, what a creep. And Raiden, as we both know so well, Hart does not mince his words. He tells it like it is. Sometimes I think he tells it a little like it is a little too often. But the man has always been a straight shooter, and I've always admired Bret Hart for that. He just says how it is. I've noticed CM Punk's been very quiet about it, but then the deal he's probably on is just like, don't say anything controversial. Just do yourself a favor. Just don't. But the stuff that he talked about in the Art of Wrestling, all right, Punk is not affected by Vinny because of all these allegations, but hearing the sort of, testimony from Punk about what he was put through, you can see a similar parallel with what the women have gone through. And folks, I'm not even going to discuss on this podcast the things that Ms. Grant has been going through, endured, because there's just certain things. Even if I were to put this on a mature setting, there are things that I just couldn't. It's just too disturbing. And apparently John Laurinaitis is claiming to be a victim in all of this, and I'm like, okay, I don't believe you, but okay. Dan saying Paul Heyman did not have good things to say about Benoit despite the CTE. Dan, at the end, Heyman is Heyman. Heyman does what he wants. That's just him for you. But yeah. Ruby just said earlier, is Odie challenging Vince McMahon for WWE's future? I will do no such thing. I'm far too busy going on Twitch, and then later, Raid and Elman are going out for a beer bash. Raid's like, what? Like, bruh, don't bring me into this.
And furthermore, there's no more talk of him on said streams anymore.
At the end of the
for
day,
obvious reasons.
At the end of the day, his stream, his rules. When you're on someone else's stream, think of it like this: you're going into someone else's house, therefore, it's their rules. If you don't like it, there's the door. It'd be like the same thing. You go into like Red, like, hey, welcome to my pad. We go chill here. Can we watch the best of Kanye West on Fox? Get out of my house right now.
Oh, Kanye. Speaking of Kanye, there's one thing you don't do. You do not piss off the Prince of Darkness. I'm talking about Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh, no.
Oh, boy.
Yep. He sampled one of Ozzy's songs. I think it's Iron Man.
Oh, yeah.
boy. Also anti-Semitism, blah 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 blah. So you know that shit.
Ooh, yeah, that's nah, don't do that. No. Since you just chimed in, Raiden, do you want to give your 2 cents on old Vinny?
Hold on a second. Here's something that
Oh boy.